Ooh, this light is pretty bad. This is much better. Okay, hi, I'm Mariette, and I'm randomly starting this YouTube channel now simply because I'm in the process of building my own business and I want to document my journey. So, yeah, hi, I'm Mariette. I am an ex Google strategist, I am a movement researcher, aerial yoga teacher, and I have researched the intelligence of the human body. So, basically, I left the corporate world after I realized, okay, I will never fit in here. I thought reaching Google was like where I will finally be able to like fit in and to thrive and, can be myself and, but that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. And I was pretty disappointed, if not shocked. At this point, I think Google is a social experiment, like with the people that work there and what they like. I think it's a social experiment. Anyways, so the during the entire time where I was, working in tech, I always was surrounded by men, and I was always competing against men. These were my main competitors, and basically, after I switched to Google, I realized that I may have chosen this field of work because of my trauma. I have again chosen for a field that is dominated by narcissistic men. Because why? I'm glad you asked, because my father was a narcissist and I have relived the same thing over and over again in corporate, the same thing I've lived in my childhood. So, anyway, I realized something needs to change. And maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. So I started digging. I started digging deep. I started to follow my intuition that I finally regained. I thought I had lost that inner voice, but it's slowly but surely coming back. And I'm so happy about it. But yeah, basically, I left Google and I had no backup plan. I had no backup plan. I didn't have a house. I quit my lease and left Ireland, and I have been homeless ever since. I have been traveling and I've just followed my intuition to find out, okay, what it is, why I'm not able to fit in, why I could not, for the life of it, fit into this corporate mold. But I also had no other idea of what else I would like to do because I was pushed into this direction from a very early age, and I thought that was my destiny. I had to do that, and then I realized, okay, fuck, I've now built this golden cage with this six-figure salary, and now I don't know how to get out. So I basically pulled the plug. I ripped off the band-aid and left. And I have been researching a lot of things and following my intuition that led me to start martial arts. I really fell in love with martial arts. I started before I joined Google, like shortly before I joined Google. And I completely fell in love with it. And I was obsessed with it. And I started to follow these nudges, the nudge that told me, hey, you need to start. You need to try Muay Thai. So then when I left Dublin, I went to Amsterdam. And for some reason, something told me you need to start ballet. So I just had this nudge and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sign up for my very first ballet class. I'm almost 30, but fuck it. So I did that, fell in love with ballet. I'm still trying to process what is actually happening to me when I dance ballet because I'm literally entering a state of trance that I cannot explain. Anyway, so basically, what I found out at Google is that I have aphantasia. Aphantasia means my mental eye is completely blind. I don't have don't have imagination. I don't have imagination. And my thoughts are nonverbal. So my way of thinking is nonverbal. I don't have a mind, like a auditory mind. I don't have that. So I started to dig into that because I realized, like, to me it was mind blowing that people can imagine things And I'm still not quite sure if y'all are okay. Like when I started to research, I'm like, what do you mean people get involuntary images? And what do you mean? Like, do you just like imagine things and then like when I tell you, okay, there's like a pink elephant, imagine a pink elephant there. Can you actually see a pink elephant right in front of you? Yeah, we have like explain. Anyway, so I went to dig deep. I'm like, okay, I was diagnosed as neurodivergent. I undiagnosed myself. I actually, after all my research, found out I am autistic as fuck. I'm autistic as fuck and definitely not able to fit in anywhere. So I started to get really curious about my own mind and how I actually learn, how I remember things, how I know things. And yeah, this led me down a very interesting research path that I would love to share with you guys. Anyway, aphantasia. I started to make my own research map. So basically after I left, I went to back to Amsterdam to start ballet. And then I went to circus school. While I was in Dublin, I fell in love with aerial arts, and I started aerial silks in Dublin. So I thought, why not go to circus school to explore more aerial apparatuses? Did that, was very, very fun. And there, I kind of got more into the research topics of flow state, and the weirdest thing happened. So there's this guy, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi is his name. He's like supposed to be the father of flow. And when I was researching that, I was researching randomly. I'm like, okay, when did he die? And literally on the day, I researched it on the day he died. And the time I was clicking enter was an anagram to his date of birth, death date. Mind blowing, mind blowing. And then I also got into this entire topic of aphantasia and embodied cognition. So aphantasia, like I told you, it is the inability to visualize things mentally. And then embodied cognition, because I was really interested in like, okay, but like, how did I study for tests? I can still, well, I can explain to you the physical part of how I studied. I read and then I wrote down and then I wrote down again and then I summarized and then I used all the different colors and I summarized again. That's how I learn. I would love to hear how you learn. Anyway, so embodied cognition basically is the science of how you learn, literally embodying cognition. So there's three aspects that actually impact on how we generate knowledge or how we learn. It's physical structures, so our actual body, like the tendons, the muscle, the fascia, in environmental interaction, so it's literally your environment, and sensory motor activity that is needed for us to learn. The brain is not a computer. We need our entire body to learn. It is a closed loop system. So thinking is basically a continuous loop between your mind, your body, and your environment. And that's why it's so important to listen to your body, learn to listen to your body, connect with your body and who you have in your environment. When I was at Google, oh my God, I absolutely hated the office. Maybe it was just the building I was in, but it was absolutely horrible. So sterile, so gray, fluorescent light, and blah. It was just all fucking superficial and absolutely anesthetic. Is that the word? Anesthetic. Yeah. And it felt like a prison because you had this badge and you had to literally tap in anywhere you go. Literally any fucking where. If I were to go to the bathroom, I would have to tap in twice just to go to the bathroom. Every door, tapping your badge. It felt like a freaking prison. Anyway, so that's why I researched embodied cognition. That's how my research started in embodied cognition. With aphantasia. So basically, then I went into the whole topic of flow states. Flow states is an altered states of consciousness where you perform and feel your best. And that is something that high adrenaline sports athletes try to achieve all the fucking time. That's basically your baseline to do the impossible. And then I realized that's what I've been missing. That's what I have been missing since since I was that old. That is me on a horse at 10 years old. No, 11 actually. That is flow state. That is intra-species flow state. Now, let me tell you, the way I have missed this feeling is unmatched. But I realized the entire time I've been chasing flow state activities, so martial arts, aerial, and ballet, in order for myself to heal. My intuition has led me down a path for me to heal my deepest wounds. And I don't know how to share the story without sounding like a crazy person, but the things I have uncovered and learned, I don't know how to portray them and explain them in a manner, but it's important that we talk about these things. Anyway, so basically, my plan now. So I've done all the travels, I've done all the Muay Thai, the aerial yoga training, the martial arts, and now it's time for me to act. I want to put what I know and what I can, my skills, into a business. First of all, my mission. I want everyone to start martial arts now. I need people to stop going to the gym, stop going to these generic, pointless exercises. I am an ex-athlete. I craved the feeling of adrenaline, the feeling of going into a parkour, the feeling of being one with my horse and like performing at absolute maximum speed, the most difficult tasks ever. And then when I stopped doing that and I started to do that, the generic like workout, like go to the gym, this and that, my soul left my body. Because like, what are you even doing? There's no purpose to this other than you looking a certain way. There's no purpose to going to the gym other than looking a certain way. When there's practices like martial arts, ballet, and aerial that will not only form your character, train your entire body and your mind, and make you smart and heal you. And people go to high rocks. High rocks, I'm fucking coming for you. I'm telling you, I want high. I'm gonna high rocks, because that shit is fucking up our human evolutionary biology. Yeah? Okay, that's my mission statement. So, why martial arts? Self-defense, but it starts with you. Martial arts is nervous system regulation. You learn neurological sovereignty. You become unhijackable. Once you understand how your body and your mind and your spirit connects you to your center of gravity, you will notice when people try to manipulate you. And people do so maybe with the best of intentions. Their intentions, not yours. And you need to become aware of covert manipulation, because people get a kick out of it. People need a feeling of control, and when they can get that from you, you're a great supplier. So consensual co-regulation. When you are entering a Muay Thai gym, you need to be aware of what that does to your physiology and to your nervous system, because it is a level of entrainment. You will literally become enmeshed with the group. That's called group flow. So the intra-species flow I was referring to with my horse, that is the same in a group. You become one unit and you move as such. And when you are removed from that system, you will feel a lack. You will feel like something is missing, but you might not know what. So you need to become aware of it, and you need to consensually co-regulate. And there's lots of different people doing Muay Thai and martial arts for many different reasons, and we need to talk about it. Flow, group flow, and coherence. I just mentioned that. Then martial arts is breath control and breath awareness. Martial artists know that your breath is where your source energy, your source power comes from. So you learn how to connect with it and use it for your advantage. Ethics and social order, pretty self-explanatory. Longevity and health, character formation. Is your character forming when you go to the gym? I don't think so. I don't think so. And if you are telling me it's motivation, no, you are addicted to hyperarousal and you are literally forcing yourself to do repetitive, dumb exercises that keep you disengaged and disconnected from your body. Your body is not a tool. Right, I think that's a lot. I don't know how long I'm recording already, but I don't care. This is my channel now. I'm a YouTuber. So yeah, basically, then, of course, I need to do this myself. Why ballet? Why ballet? If you are a woman, you need to do ballet. If you're a woman, you need to do ballet. Please do ballet. Please, 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 please do ballet. If you're a woman who has been S8, you need to do ballet. If you're a woman who is scared of her own sensuality and femininity, you need to do ballet. Nervous system regulation, neurokinetic exercise, neurosomatic, musicality, strength, grace, somatic intelligence. Somatics is everything related to your connection to yourself and your body, and bringing that together and knowing how they communicate with each other and you. Full body geometry. Ballet is full body geometry. Need I say more? You will literally become smart as hell. Yeah. Oh, this I made for my nephew. He turned 13, but I forgot. I thought he was turning 12. So now, what next? Now I'm doing my branding for LinkedIn because your girl's got to do her sales job again. And this time it's going to be for me and me only. And this time it's going to be for something I actually believe in. That's a new one. Because first I was selling cloud networking, business intelligence, monitoring, cloud observability. What does it even mean and who needs that shit? Anyway, so narcissism, like I said, I have extensive knowledge on narcissism. I studied it in the corporate context for my bachelor thesis long time ago, before everybody was called a narcissist, before it was cool to call your ex and their mother a narcissist. Nonverbal behavior and leadership. In my master thesis, which I graduated cum laude, by the way, I video coded hours and hours of video material, the nonverbal behavior of leaders in meetings at the Dutch tax office. So let me tell you, I know everything about nonverbal behavior and I will be reading you for sure. Neurodiversity and trauma. Why did nobody tell me I'm autistic? Why did my mother didn't know? Why wasn't I asked during the neurodiversity ADHD assessment if I have ever been S8? Why wasn't I asked if I ever had a traumatic brain injury? Which, newsflash, I do. What do you think happens to a highly masking, sensory-seeking autistic woman when she's on speed? Sex addiction. Yeah. So neurodiversity, trauma, and movement. These will be my subjects that I will be centering my content around. And I will be offering one-on-one leadership classes online and definitely in person, because nonverbal behavior is in the actual context. It cannot be taught. There is things that cannot be taught over the internet, guys. I'm happy to tell you. So then group flow team classes. I will create exercises and environments where teams can actually feel part of the team without having to mask, without doing anything. They don't need to talk even. Like if there's a more inclusive group event for introverts and extroverts and neurodivergence where they don't need to talk, like brilliant. And B2C group events. I would love to create a event series. You Hyrox, an event series where first men and women train separately to learn to honor their unique differences and their instinct and intuition, because they act very, very differently for men and women. Like, there's immense differences between the male and female instinct. So we need to honor that. Women, we will learn where your boundaries are. We will set somatic boundaries for yourself, so you have an anchor whenever you feel like someone else is trying to pull you out of your body on their side, or wherever else they want to pull you. You will physically feel a feeling, and you need to be able to establish that connection with yourself before we will be training with the boys. What the boys do, I'm still not so sure. I need to find a business partner for that, or talk to someone who could basically help me with the male part of things, because I'm a woman. I don't have a male instinct. And last but not least, neurological self-defense and sensuality in martial arts and aerial stretching. The entire time when people do martial arts, at least in the Netherlands, they are constantly under tension like this because, protect, What do you think happens to your fascia when you're just doing this and not stretch? So you need to use gravity to lengthen again. You don't need to brace all the time. You need to learn to elongate, to stretch, and to relax. Because, my friends, it is so much more difficult to relax and actively stretch and hold a pose in complete stillness than it is for a 1-hour back workout. And with that, I will conclude my very first LinkedIn YouTube video. Ew. Okay, bye. Today's the 18th of July, by the way.